What up, y'all? Shots with Jay back at it again with another one. I know it's been a minute since I popped out a new video on one of these, and it's taken a while, but not only is it new content, it's a new gun for me and for you guys, and hopefully I can get to share some thoughts that might make you think twice about what you got, or maybe what you should get. So right here, we take a look at this box right here. And as y'all can see, it is a Beretta. Alright, let's check out the side right there. Hopefully y'all could see that. Sometimes this thing don't want to focus, right? But it is the Beretta APX A1 Compact. My girl actually got this for me for Christmas. Awesome gift. And I'm very appreciative, so shout out to her. Really appreciate that. So, Beretta APX A1 Compact. I like how first things first, you get it in this box. Smith & Wesson is great. They are honestly doing some of the most in the industry right now, considerably more than other brands. But one thing that they do lacking is the boxes. That is, of course, unless you get like a spec series or something of that caliber, right? Something of that level. But if you're looking at the SDs or even, the MMPs, you'll get a cardboard box, whether that be blue, black, or you name it. So this one does have some latches right here. Push on the bottom, pull at the top. Push at the bottom, pull at the top. So let's open it, right? And this is an unboxing. I have not ever shot this thing. I haven't taken it to the range, so I can't give you guys a range report yet. Of course, that is gonna come, right? But what I can do is present the way it is when you get it. So right off the bat, it does come with a lot, right? It does come with a mag speed loader. If you don't want to go ahead and push out with your thumbs, that's cool. Comes with the lock. Most companies do include this lock, and I'm not sure if really anybody uses it, but at the end it's better to have it and not need it than need it and not have it. So we do appreciate that from Beretta. And you do get some replaceable back straps. Now this is awesome because this shows a lot of versatility, depending on your hand size. Believe it or not, there's actually a lot of different companies that don't offer such configurations to different hands. You kind of have to work around with the size it has, or you add things like grips, or you go ahead and buy a product to mold it to your hands. But here they already have it for you, so that's really cool. All right. Now, even though I haven't shot it, the one thing that I did go ahead and do is change out one of the back straps. It comes with the medium, small, and a large. And as you can see, it is each size is a totally different size. You can tell that just, it does increase the size. This is a small, this is the medium. But right here, I went ahead and put on the large. And the reason I did that was because the large, of all of the pieces, of all of the back straps, the large is the only one that has a beaver tail. You can see right here, it actually extends towards the top where your grip is going. I just like beaver tails. I know some may not, but I really do like it. You see how right there it's just cut off at the top straight? This one has that curve. Same right here, cut off at the top straight. But right here, this one has that curve. So the large back strap has that beaver tail, and a lot of people complain about beaver tails maybe poking out and stuff, but this beaver tail is just for here in the grip. It doesn't actually go out. So I do like that. Not to say that I don't like pieces that have really extended beaver tails, which is good for slide bite, but I'm just saying that this one doesn't cause that issue at all. So if you ever had that issue, you don't have it with this one. You can totally go ahead and put on the large back strap without having to worry about that at all. Taking a look at this, honestly, the first thing I can tell you is that the finish is just great. There's not too many where like the finish just wows you. You have some that are definitely memorable because they're so bad, like a Taurus. The new ones are reliable and all of that, but just finish wise, the finish is terrible on the new Tauruses. Now, one of the best finishes that just lasts a long time are like the new Gen 5s, Glocks, or the new Gen 6, the MMPs, the Armor Knight finish, man, those just last a long time. And recently, Springfield's new products have a really good finish. But honestly, I had no idea how good Beretta's finishes were until I saw this. Look at this thing, man. The finish on this is just awesome. You can tell that this is just dramatically corrosion resistant. This might be one of the best finishes I've seen, honestly. It's really good. So props to Beretta for that. Really good finish. Now, going ahead and taking a look, you see the texture, right, that it offers. That's another thing where this definitely scored. Beretta knew what they were doing with this. You know, Beretta's been around for almost, you know, pretty much half a thousand years, around 500 years. That's a really long time, right? They are the OGs in the game, and they definitely know what they're talking about. Okay, so at the front, you have like this checkered texture, and it's not abrasive enough to go ahead and cause you discomfort, but it is literally perfect. And it's the same in the back. And the texturing right here is like kind of a soft grit sandpaper. It's really good, but it's not like, you know, too rough. So this is not going to cause any belly rub or any side rub or anything like that if you choose to carry this thing. Now, a lot of pieces where they lack in, right, is that the texture doesn't go high enough, right, when you're actually gripping it for your thumb, your support hand, things like that. If you go ahead and take a closer look right there, you can see right here that it actually has like an in-between between the smooth and the checkered and sandpaper texture. It's like a middle ground, and that's awesome. They really hit the home run with that. I think a lot of people overlook this, and they have that way for some people that don't like it too textured on the top, or some people that want it smooth. This is a middle ground that just fits for everybody, right? And before I forget, right, this is a modular piece right here. What does that mean? That means that this is actually the serialized part, which is the unit inside. You can go ahead and swap it out for like grips, different colors, things like that. So if you're looking for modularity, and if that's something that, you know, you kind of seek, because most of them don't, you know, most handguns don't have modularity, but this one does. So that's definitely a starting point. If you want to go ahead and get that, you definitely can't go wrong with that, right? And this is the APX. They definitely flex it a lot. You see it at the top, APX right there, into the slide. Really good finish. I know I keep saying it, but the finish is really, really good. And right here on the frame as well. This is actually the continuation of the original APX. This is the APX A1. So this is kind of the next generation of the APX, which is pretty much just showing the updated serrations, updated trigger, and things like that. To continue on the texture, for the support hand, they have texture right here. But if you have larger hands and you want to go even further, they have it right there. And that's for your thumb, and of course your index if you want to play around with that, right? So that's awesome. And honestly, I think they really hit the home run with the texture, and that goes all the way around. As for the serrations, they are super deep. I know a lot of my videos on my other pieces, I've always complained that some of them, they slack on the serrations, either where they don't have any in the front, or if they do have them in the front, they're like halfway, or they don't go all the way up. Look at Beretta. They went all the way up. They did it the way it is here in the back. Of course, not as many, because the back is, you know, just a longer area to grab, you know, more real estate right there. But the serrations go all the way up, all the way down. And they're, I'm not going to say sharp, right, but they're deep. You know, you can't miss these for sure. I mean, right off the bat, you can just tell that it's right there for you. This is a 3.7-inch barrel. Shorter than, you know, a lot of compacts have a 4-inch barrel. This is a 3.7-inch barrel. So this is a little shorter than that, if that's something that, you know, maybe you don't want a 4-inch barrel just because you want a little bit something more comfortable to carry. The 3.7-inch, I don't think you can go wrong with that at all. And their barrels are great. You know, there's a lot of Beretta barrels that just cost a lot. And if you go on their websites, their barrels are a lot. So the barrels, I mean, they do last. Their barrels, they're really good. Now, let's check out that trigger, right? I'll wait till that focuses a little bit. There you go. So this does have a safety blade, okay? And, you know, I'm not gonna really call it a flat face. It does have a slight curve to it, but let's go ahead and check it out, right? That's a safety blade. You have to compress this to pull the trigger. If you don't, the trigger won't go off. And that's used as a safety, right? Like for drop safe, things like that, it won't just go bang. So you press down on the safety blade first. Let's check it out. Okay, little bit of mush, not too bad. Let's check out the reset. Okay, fairly short, to be honest. Definitely better than the Glock trigger. Yeah, I mean, I could tell that right off the bat. This will definitely go and lighten up with a couple hundred rounds. Now, it may not be the lightest, right? If I had to guess, I would probably put 4.5 to 5 pounds. Not 4 to 4.5, more like 4.5 to 5 pounds. But in terms of the travel, yeah, I think it's pretty short, honestly. I don't really think it needs an upgrade if you're going to be using this a lot, or if you just want it as a range toy. Sights. Does have metal sights, blacked out rear, red fiber optic in the front. That's really good. I know the tactical models have the optic height sights, but they are just blacked out in the back and the front, and that's something I don't like. You know, it would have been cool if they have optic height sights, but the front has, you know, a dot of some sort, but they don't. They're just completely black. So with that being said, between those and these, I probably prefer these. These are really good sights right here. And a lot of things are serrated that, you know, a lot of people really overlook. For instance, right here you have the takedown lever. It is serrated. These are really deep serrations, so they're not like thin and plenty of them. But right here you do see that there are quite a few of them. Now most slide releases, you'll see them be more rectangular and longer. This one is more short and square. Honestly, I would probably prefer it to be longer and more rectangular instead of shorter and squared. I mean, but it's not too big of a issue or anything like that. Just got to reach out maybe a little bit more or get used to it, right? But I would probably prefer a rectangular slide release, just that way it's easier to reach with the thumb. But no biggie at all. I mean, it's serrated, it feels really solid, and you do have a multi-slot rail right there. It's 2-slot, so that would mean that you have compact or small lights or lasers to go ahead and fit on this thing. And man, I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I'm pretty impressed. Not only that, but look at this, right? Look at the undercut right here. You know, instead of just going straight out right here, they really emphasize on that area that you can go ahead and put your finger on, just to make sure that you have enough space, right? So you get a good grip. You know, you're not gonna need to go ahead and do it like a double undercut, get anything custom or anything like that, right? So that is really cool. I do like that. Now going ahead and seeing the serrations right here, my bad, or like the texture right here, you do see the mag release. And one thing I did want to point out, right, is that whenever you eject the magazines, they like fly out. I don't think I've ever had ejection as strong as this Beretta APX A1 compact from any gun that I've ever had. They just fly out of there, and look at that, and that's like just completely sideways. You won't ever worry about having to yank them out or anything like that. But if you ever did, they do have these ledges right here on the magazine, just in case if there's any sort of mag malfunction or anything like that. You can go ahead and tug on that, and that's something to help, right? Now each magazine, you get 2 of them, has 15 rounds, and these are the bullet holes or the round witness holes. It goes in increments of 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, and 15. They are metal, they're not plastic, and the finish seems pretty good. We'll see how that holds up later in the future, right? But overall, the finish on the slide is great. The magazines feel really solid, and on the bottom you can see that Beretta logo proudly flexing itself, just for whoever wants to go ahead and see that, or if you're ever, in that moment. So you got that Beretta logo right there, and right there. So they seem to be very proud of who they are. And they got the right to. It is Beretta. Now, the APX A1 Carry, which is like the smaller version, which is a single stack, that is American made, right? This one is made in Italy, as it says right there at the top. So that's pretty cool, right? I haven't had an Italian firearm yet, but I'm glad that I do now, right? Now, the one gripe I got about this, right, it is the takedown method, right? It's not Glock style. It's not really like a traditional pull down lever style. The way this one works is you got to push this button really hard, and once that's compressed and then you push this down, and then you can go ahead and take off the slide. Here's the issue. The issue is that pushing this down, it's pretty tough. And if you're ever in that moment where like you just, you know, have to go ahead and, you know, take it apart for whatever reason, really, it's gonna be a little tough. Now, I'm not trying to say like it sounds as serious as I'm making it or whatever, but I'm just saying it's not as easy as it would be on the other takedown methods. Definitely doable, but for me, it's not the most convenient. So that's the one thing, it would be the takedown method, right? And honestly, just looking at this, it looks like a beauty. You know, they have a lot of things on their website from Beretta that you can go ahead and do to up this, you know, like threaded barrels, different sights. But honestly, just the way it comes like this is awesome. Now, this is the optics plate, right? But if you did want to go ahead, my bad, this is the optics cover. But if you want to go ahead and put a red dot or a green dot on it, you're going to have to go ahead and buy the specific plate from Beretta themselves, depending on the optic that you want to go ahead and put up there. Now, that means that it does not come with any plates. It's only the cover. If you want to go ahead and run this just without a red dot and, you know, rock the irons, right? But if you want to use a dot, you got to buy the plate from Beretta. It does not come with a plate. So that's another thing, you know, if you're looking for that, right? Now, I am planning to go ahead and compare this to the other guns I got, right? This is a compact. This is the middle ground between the carry and the home defense. I like it because the compacts are kind of a best of both worlds. You can kind of do everything with this: range, home defense, carry, duty, anything like that, sufficient capacity. So compact for me is usually the way to go. Not to say I don't like full size or micros or anything like that. I think they're all awesome. But compact for me, it's kind of like the Goldilocks area. I am going to go ahead and compare this with the other guns I have. And I can tell you right off the bat that this is like pretty thick though. Now, there are pros and cons to that, right? Some people like thicker slides because it's going to go ahead and definitely tame more recoil. And because of that, you have more pretty much mass absorbing the recoil. You know, if it's too light, sometimes like, you know, there's just not enough metal to go ahead and absorb the bang of the round, right? Especially if you're trying to do like fast, you know, speed shooting or follow-up shots, things like that. But as you can tell, right, this is pretty thick. I'm not gonna lie, this is pretty thick. And obviously the downside to that, if this were a downside to you, if you don't care about the recoil and things like that, you just prefer you know, concealability, that's where this thing would lack. And I'm not gonna say it's bad in concealed carry. This is great because you have a 3.7-inch barrel. It's even shorter than the 4-inch barrel. But just on the thickness, right? Most people care about the length right here of the barrel and the slide as a whole. But if you're talking about thickness, this is really thick. Me personally, I really like it. I think it's good variety. And, you know, sometimes people wish they had a thicker slide, you know, because most of the time they are going to be thinner than this. So it's really cool to have this also just as like a variation. If you ever want to rock something just a little thicker for the day. But if you're just, you know, somebody that's always, you know, trying to thin out as much as you can, kind of like for the Shield or the Shield X, you know, just those slim or the slim lines, the Glocks, the, what is it, the 48, the 43, things like that, then that's something to think about. But this is pretty thick, I can tell you right now. And it also does have some kind of, I'm not going to say rounded, right? But they did try their best to go ahead and assist right here at the tip of the slide for better holstering. So that is pretty cool. Overall, I have really nothing but good things to say about it. I can't give you a range report yet because I haven't shot it, right? Just being honest. But when I do, I'm going to go ahead and tell you guys how this thing shoots, how it feels. But I can tell you that I really like the way this feels. The quality just feels amazing, right? You can tell that this is just kind of the shit. And it's a true competitor, right? This thing can go head to head with the M&Ps, with the Glocks. I mean, this is Beretta. This is not, you know, some budget version of something like the SD, though I love the SD, super accurate, more than it should be. You know, it is a budget option. The M&P is the higher end. This competes with those big boys. You know what I'm saying? Look at this thing, man. This thing just looks great. So overall, super excited. And this is the back. That is the base plate. Now, it's not a striker indicator. You know, when you when you pop off the trigger, you're not going to see a difference there. So on your own, you're going to have to be a little conscious about that. You know, there's different pieces that kind of show you if you got around or if the slide is racked. This one doesn't seem to have either, but just to be conscious about that. So anyways, guys, this is the Beretta APX A1 Compact. Go ahead and let me know what you guys think. Let me know your experience. Let me know if you guys even carry this. Let me know how it feels, you know, considering the thickness, but also considering the barrel length. You know what I mean? Totally different. You don't see too many 3.7-inch barrels around. I think the new Shield X is 3.6 if I'm not mistaken, but this one is a 3.7. I know the Canik TP9 SC Elite is a 3.6, so super similar barrel length, but this is bigger because the frame is bigger. It's just a compact, so it's totally different. This feels more like a full-size gun, but it's still compact because if you put it next to a full-size, you're gonna go ahead and tell the difference right away. But overall, I mean, man, what a solid piece. You can tell that Beretta definitely, you know, hit a home run with this. Just everything, the serrations, the texturing, even the trigger is not too bad. I mean, I think it's a pretty good trigger. Pretty short reset, not gonna lie. Anyways, guys, there it is, the Beretta APX A1 Compact. Let me know. I appreciate y'all tapping in.